Welcome back to Breed to Succeed. This time we're going to take you behind the scenes to the world of the Breeze-Up Sales. They're babies, they're trainee racehorses, so what goes into preparing them for their big day in the sales ring? Yeah, I'd like you to rap. Did I not tell you about that?
Every part of the process is tense. There's no part of the process not tense.
I give stress to my staff.
The first European Breeze-Up was here in Doncaster in 1977. My late father was running DBS, as it was in those days, now Goffs UK, and he introduced the sale because they'd been working obviously in America quite well, and he thought there was an opening. Breeze-Up Sales originally just offered something different because they were at a certain level, not the level they're at now. They offered a time saving, they offered more information because when you buy a yearling traditionally, you see the horse walked up and down, the yearling is unbroken. Of course, when you get to the Breeze-Up Sales, they're 2-year-olds, they're ready to go. So originally saving 6-month training fees was a big deal and being able to see them. It was all about potential in those days.
The horses have just breezed. They've breezed over 2 furlongs and maybe a little run out for another maybe furlong, and they're all back and they've been washed off, and we're just waiting for the buyers to come down now. We generally buy yearlings, maybe September, October, November time. They come back to the farm, we break them in. John Cross and Danny, they take over then. They're vastly experienced horse people. And they break them for maybe a week or 2 weeks. Then we are so lucky that we've got very, very good land in our area, and all the horses go out in the fields for maybe a month or 6 weeks on just let them be lovely horses again, let them back to nature. And then maybe the 1st of mid-November, weather permitting in Ireland, we take them in and we then prepare for the Breeze-Up Sales.
And when you're buying these youngsters, obviously they've never been ridden, they're totally different to how they look now. Are you already thinking the potential and this horse will fit this sale? How does it work?
Usually if we buy a horse at a certain sale, we will, if we buy them at Doncaster or Goffs, more than likely we'll send them back to the Doncaster Breeze-Up Sales. And if we buy from Tattersalls, we usually send back. That's generally what we do. Once we buy the yearlings, there's a lot of costs involved. We have transport bills, we have wages, feed, hay, straw, but we run it for about 6 months, and then we try and buy horses as yearlings that we think are going to be very good race horses. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. We hold our hands up, we don't get it right the whole time, but our percentage of winners of group horses is off the Richter scale. We've just been so lucky, but it's all down to our team at home. We could be putting maybe 15,000 by the time we've paid for transport and 6 months training. So we need to sell them at a profit. And sometimes you get very well paid and sometimes you don't. The Breeze-Up itself is very stressful, but I don't have stress. I give stress to my staff. But it's like telling a trainer, have all his horses ready to run and win in one day. That's the exact same. We have 6 months work for 25 seconds here. It seems balmy, but that's the reality of it. From say January, we're cantering them. We do probably about a mile of a steady canter just to build up the muscle on their backs and their hindquarters and teach them to relax, just switch off. And then we upped the speed a little bit, maybe in the end of February. We might take them away to Tipperary Racecourse or somewhere like that, just for the experience, a little day out, let them enjoy themselves. Put them on a lorry, put them into the stables and take them home, and we would do that twice. And then maybe I'd take them up to my neighbour's, Tommy Stacks, and I would just breeze them for maybe 2 furlongs to teach them to go on their own and get speed. But most of the work is steady work just to build up muscle. So I want them to be racehorses I want them to be very muscly when they go to the racetrack. Some of these horses can run in 2-3 weeks if you want. They just go into a new stable, but now there will be a change of diet. There'll be a change of they love their people that look after them. There'll be new people looking after them, and there'll be new gallops. So it's good that the horses can be just accustomed to all that.
the horses really do all the work for us. We're just trying to keep them as balanced as we can and let them use their strides as best they can. And just to keep them tuned in and running straight as straight as they can. So basically, yeah, they set off at the 3 pole and they build into a nice canter, and then by the 2, they'd be doing a good swing along, and the last 1.5, they'd be really galloping out. So yeah, it's tough going for them.
Would you sit on these horses before you breeze them, or are you just getting on the first time?
Yeah, no, I do a little bit of riding and work at home. Say they might meet me at the Curragh or might meet me at deer gallops, and I'd sit up on them and you know, give them 2 or 3 breezes and just no harm to get to know them and to also help them to produce them and have them ready for the day of the sales. They can be a little bit daunting, like it is their first time away from home, but the Breeze-Ups is a great stepping stone for racehorses because they're getting the experience of being at a race course, of being more independent because they're by themselves, and you know, it is a great stepping stone before they go to the races, and you know, the purchasers are able to get a proper good look at what they want to buy and what they're looking for, and I find you know, it's proven itself every year. There's a lot of winners come out of the Breeze-Ups, and not only like they could be only sold a couple of weeks and they're on the race course and they're winning.
And what's the fee, if you don't mind me asking?
The fee?
Yeah.
I'm in a great position. I don't have to worry about charging a fee. I always do it for the same people every year, so they look after me very well after the sale. There's no set fee. Everybody charges whatever they think.
Breeze-Up sales are slightly different to maybe a yearling sale. At a 2-year-old sale, the horses arrive in the grounds and the consignors and the vendors will usually give them a look at the track. They have like what they call a practice breeze, sort of the day before the official breeze. So I'll usually attend that, and then in the they'll practice breeze those horses in the morning, and then from that afternoon I'll start looking around the horses I've marked, maybe on the basis of their pedigree. And then obviously the Breeze-Up is held the day before they auction them, so we'll attend that, we'll look at them, we'll watch them, and obviously start inspecting them from then onwards.
And it's a massive job. I think the inspections are not something to be sort of glossed over. You would go through every horse in the catalogue?
Well, we definitely watch every breeze. Like there's 180 odd horses breezed here on Wednesday, and you know, we watched every single one of them go past us. We looked at the times. We have a timing device that will tell us how they clocked, and then obviously would have marked quite a few on pedigree that we would have liked and would have had some interest in. So it's kind of a combination of everything that goes into combining maybe a shortlist for the sale.
Taking the focus away from the UK and Europe for the big interview this time, and Ajay, actually you do spend a lot of time in Europe, but you're based here in Dubai and you founded your own Bloodstock agency, what, a few years ago?
Yeah, I've been here since 2006, so 19 years, and I founded my Bloodstock agency in 2010. So 15 years I've been on my own. I had a nice cushy job with Dali, but decided to go on my own and experiment. And it's been going well.
And talk us through some of the success stories that you've had, horses that you've bought or brokered the deal.
So one of the first horses that had a major impact on what I started to do was a horse called Novair. And it started because, you know, I had Sultan Singh come over for the World Cup, and then he went back, and that's when we started talking. He asked me to find him a stallion, and I found him Novair. And funnily enough, he actually was doing well enough. He had a Royal Ascot winner in the first 3 years, actually. But after the second year, you know, we brokered the deal. It was done quite easily, quite smoothly, and he was sold. I think it was one of those things. It's very hard to know what will happen in the future. So it went really well for Sultan Singh because he ended up producing the French Derby winner, Lahore, also a very successful stallion, and 3 other individual international Group 1 winners. So for him to sell the progeny was a jackpot. It worked really well. And his progeny in India also did really well. We have a lot of classics in India. So you have classics in Mumbai, you have classics in Pune, you have classics in Bangalore, summer and winter. Then likewise Hyderabad, likewise Mysore, Ooty, Delhi. So there are quite a lot of classics. So it's easy to say, but still winning stakes races with the stallions you buy is very difficult. So I've bought 9 individual stallions that have produced a classic winner.
And what are they looking for, your Indian stud owner or breeder? They want turf horses, or they need small horses? Like, what's their ideal?
So Indian racing is only on turf. They are looking for horses that can, I always say, you need a stallion that can produce winners, never mind what distance it is. But yes, the majority of races, like many other countries, are up to a mile. So if you want your horse to look very smart and continue producing winners, you need to find a horse that is fast enough to produce a 6 furlong up to a mile.
And in terms of the stud farms over in India, I imagine they're very beautiful, they're very green. What sort of life do these horses have?
They get treated better than most humans, I should say. The horses that fly over from different parts of the world, or the progeny that's born on all these farms. There's quite a lot of manpower in India, so they get a lot of attention. You know, farms are beautiful, different regions, different aspects. You know, some regions have better soil, some regions have better grass, some have bigger fields, and they're as good as anywhere else.
And it's booming, is it? I assume it's in fairly decent health if they're importing horses from elsewhere?
COVID hit Indian breeding, actually. So the breeders cut down quite a lot, and they culled a lot of mares. There are a few things, not just COVID, which hit the Indian racing and breeding operation. One of them was the GST on and government taxes on racing and betting, which changed you know, a lot of things in terms of racing administration. The prize money went down and taxation was quite high. So the money wasn't coming back into the game, which affected the ownership. The number of horses in each centre had reduced. Looking at the market now, it's a breeder's market for sure, because there's more demand and less supply. So last 2 years, I have to say the Indian breeders have actually bought a lot of mares. The market looks good now, and I hope it continues in that way, and I hope the government helps the industry. People from different parts of life are contributing to the racehorse as such. The connectivity of professionals, or the farmers, or the breeders, or the buyers, or the transport companies, or the feeding companies. There are a lot of people who are actually dependent on this. Some families have done nothing else but breed horses or work at the farms. So hopefully they will understand that it's not just the gambling, but there's a lot more that goes behind horse racing.
The Breeze-Up sales were in full swing throughout April. In America, the mammoth OBS 2-year-olds in training sale, with more than 1,200 horses catalogued, saw 9 pass the $1 million mark. Top lot was a $1.5 million son of Tiz the Law, who sold to a partnership of Spendthrift Farm, St Elias Stable and West Point Thoroughbreds. Second top lot was a Gunrunner colt, sold to Kerry Radcliffe for $1.45 million. Records were smashed at Goffs UK Breeze-Up, where former jockey Katie Walsh was the consignor responsible for the £1 million Memas colt, who was sold to Godolphin. The 2-year-old was pinhooked by a Danish and Ukraine-based syndicate, some of whom put profits from their Bloodstock endeavours into humanitarian work in Ukraine. Godolphin, via agent Anthony Stroud, also bought the second top lot, another Memas, for $720,000. Over at Tattersalls, the Craven Breeze-Up also broke records. This time it was Ammo Racing whose budget proved biggest. Kir Jarabchand's operation went to 1.75 million guineas to secure a son of Havana Grey. Godolphin bought the second highest priced horse, a 1.4 million guinea acclamation colt, consigned by Mockler's Hill Stud. 3 weeks later, consignors and agents returned to Park Paddocks for the Guineas Breeze-Up, the highlight of which was a Calix filly, who sold to Midland Park Racing for $155,000. Away from the Breeze-Ups and over to Australia, where a new English chairman's sale record was set by 4-time Group 1 winner Bella Nipotina. Her 50% owner Michael Christian went to 4.2 million Aussie dollars to buy out his partners in the mare. This is where it all happens, the heart of the Goffs sales here in Doncaster. Around 170 lots are set to go through the ring today. Nervous times for the horses perhaps, and for those selling them.
I'm doing it over 20 years now. It's still a stress watching the process develop in front of you, because it's amazing. You know, even when you're confident one will breeze well, you're still nervous because your expectations are high for the ones that expect to breeze well, and then you get the surprise where one doesn't perform on the day for various reasons. And the main thing would be stage fright. You know, would be quite common. So you're always nervous. It doesn't change. Today was funny for another reason as well. I had my first time with a new jockey. Unfortunately, my other jockey, values with me for 11 years, passed away during the year, had a work accident, which was quite tragic. So it was emotional for more than one reason, really. It was my first time in 12 years not having Valley by my side, and having a new jockey, Mario, who's joined the team. So I was anxious for Mario to go well and for it to happen, and so there was quite a lot of emotions going on today that maybe weren't there in previous years. The horse we expect to sell the best tomorrow is the Memas. He is the horse that came here with the most talent, and he is the horse that breezed the best. So, you know, he's got to listen, he's got to go through the process of being viewed by the people after the breeze and see what they think of him physically, and then if they like him, they'll vet him. So he's got to go through all those processes before he realises what he's going to realise in the ring. So passing veterinary inspections, which include x-rays and scope, etc., you know, that's a significant part of what they're capable of making, that they have to pass that process as well. The Memas on his ability is capable of making a six-figure price. Every part of the process is tense. There's no part of the process not tense. You know, there's quite a lot of steps you got to go through between the point of buying them, getting them home, preparing them, educating them, performing on the day, and then passing the physical inspections, and then passing the veterinary inspections. So it's quite a long, in-depth process of selection that you have to go through before your horse realises a big price in the ring. So we're getting ready to go to the ring, so obviously just going to give him his last groom and final polishing touches.
Which are what? A bit of hoof oil?
Yeah, hoof oil and baby oil for his face and stuff like that, and put quarter marks on him and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Make him look shiny.
Yeah, we want him looking good when he goes to the ring, you know.
So who's your team here doing this?
So this is Pat. Pat's in charge of the team, has been for years, and Pa as well.
Pat and Pat?
Yeah, two very experienced horse people. I hope it happens. You never actually know. Well, sometimes you do know that people, you know, if they've told you straight out that they are going to try and buy your horse, but invariably you're not completely sure. But when you get up to the ring and you see if the interested parties turn up and they're in the ring, people you expect to be in the ring are in the ring, well, obviously you're a little bit more confident that they're going to play. But then you're not sure, have they got, you know, the money to reserve what you want for the horse. So there's always the uncertainty of the ring, and anything can happen, positive or negative. So that does make you a little bit nervous for sure. The reserve is 150,000.
How do they decide the order?
Alphabetical order on the dam. So then the letter changes every year. It moves up 6 places every year.
So you don't always get the same ones?
No, so you know, and Tats is different to Goffs. So they don't start on the same letters. There's 2 sales companies. So that's one of the things, like when you're making your decision where to send a horse. If it's a small factor, but it's a factor. You don't want to be in number 1, and you don't want to be in last.
No.
Right. So and you can work out by the dam's letter the likelihood of being either or. So you have a choice then of going to the other company, but like I said, it's a factor, but it's not the most significant factor. Right, I'm going to go to the ring with the horse, do my reserve, and hope for the best. Who's down there? Who is it? Thanks, Chris. Hey. Thanks, Tim.
Thank you.
Yeah, cheers, no problem. Best of luck. Very best of luck. Thanks, well, yeah.
Thanks, mate. Straightforward.
It's simple. Great temperament. Just easy, like, it's just easy.
And what do you think in terms of, like, trying to
management?
mean, he's big but he's mature, I think. Give
He
him a
eats-
chance, but don't kill him, that's what
Yeah, he's scopy, like. But he takes his work well now. He eats great, like. He's a good mind for it, do you know what I mean? He's not, whether you'd be conservative or not, I don't know, is the honest answer.
Let's see, yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Give him
know.
a chance, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
And if he shouts enough, like we send him to proper trainers, if he shouts enough, fine, leave him off.
Yeah, yeah.
If he keeps coming
If he keeps coming forward, you'll see. There's a bit to do in him, I'd say.
Yeah.
Because he's scopy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well done, thanks. Cheers. I'm delighted. I'm delighted because it's gone well, you know. He made more than a reserve. You went to, as I said, went to a very big supporter of the Breeze-Ups, Blanford, Bloodstock, Richard Brown. So it's cool to sell them a horse because they are big supporters of the Breeze-Ups, and it's cool to have a horse that's good enough of the quality that they're looking for, you know. So it's a good start.
Why don't people buy in their own names at sales? It's simple, really. Imagine you're a relatively unheard of owner and you bag a superstar at a low price. Next time, others will copy you and the price will go up. It's supply and demand. For this reason, owners often buy in the names of agents or their business or in a partnership. This month, this most sought-after accolade goes to Puka. Who, we hear you say? Well, for non-US racing fans, Puka has just become the first mare to have 3 successive progeny run in the Kentucky Derby. In 2023, her son Mage won it. In 2024, her son Dornock was 10th before winning the Belmont and the Haskell. And in 2025, she was represented by 3rd place Piazza. Puka, a daughter of Big Brown, was a 4-time winner herself for trainer Bill Mott. It's been a fascinating 2 days here at Goffs. We've seen the breeze, we've got behind the scenes with the consignors and seen just how much work goes into preparing these lovely horses, and we've seen records broken. It'll be interesting to see how many of these trainee racehorses go on to be superstars on the track.